gallery so I can see more of you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome to our first full commission meeting convened on the Zoom platform. If you will, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. As I explained earlier, this is one of 27 iterations of the U.S. flag. It is the first flag under the 1818 flag law, which is the current law that governs us, and the first flag of the United States that had started to depict the state of Indiana. And it is lawful to honor this flag as all flags, all 27 iterations. We're in the 27th iteration now that includes Hawaii. And so I'll ask you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
to the
United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thank you all. You may be seated. I believe I'm to recognize, is Mr. Hollenbeck in this morning?
Yes,
I don't know if he's on yet.
There he is. Good morning, David Hollenbeck. Are you ready to offer your report with regard to the new appointments?
You know, I'm sorry. I didn't get that information here.
Very well. Then we'll just acknowledge that you're here to offer able counsel. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Eklund, if you would conduct the roll call, please.
Certainly. When I call, first of all, make sure that everyone, you're no longer muted, and you can simply just say here. Okay. Kyle Allen, David Anderson, Dwayne Arndt, Jeanette Baps, Janet Beck, Jeff Benson,
Here.
Jim Biggs, Kevin Britsky, Charlie Brown,
Here.
Bill Carroll,
Here.
Robert Carnahan,
Here.
Anthony Copeland, Joshleen Denham, Tom Dermody, Dinah Dumbris, Bill Emerson,
Here.
Michael Griffin, here,
Here.
Richard Hardaway. Richard Hardaway,
My expectation is that he is still finishing up a finance and personnel meeting. Is that not correct?
No, we're done with that,
Okay.
but he should be here.
He shows he's on a call. His name is there, but he's muted.
I see.
okay. So would we count him as yes, or do we need to verbally hear him?
For the purpose of roll call, let's count him as yes, but as Mr. Hollenbeck will advise you, under this statute, every vote today has to be by roll call. That's one of the conditions of IC 5-14-1.5-3.6.
Okay, thank you. Tony Hendricks, Eric Hall,
Here.
Jack Geralds, Tim Jones.
Here.
Thank you. Justin Keel,
Here.
Andrew Karis,
That's no, that's
Jeff Larson, Robert LeMay, Sue Lynch,
Here.
Sheila Matias,
Here.
Tom McDermott, Lori Mercer, Wendy Miss,
Here.
Edward Morales, Matt Murphy, Diane Knoll, Dwayne Perry, David Peeler, Jerome Prince, Michael Rosenbaum.
Jerome Prince is here. Sorry.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Rick Rifa, Carolyn Saxton.
Present.
Thank you. Tom Schmidt.
Yes, I'm here, but I looks like I'm labeled under Mark, which is my IT guy. So, but I am here.
Okay, great. Thank you, Tom. Brian Snedecor,
Here.
Ed Soliday.
I see him. He's still muted. I don't know that he knows that he's been called.
Okay, Ed
There he
Soliday.
is. Yeah, he waved his hands. I see him.
Okay, great. Thank you. Joe Sahura,
Here.
Greg Stinson,
Here.
Gerald Swets,
Here.
Sharon Zuido, Mary Tanis.
I know she's here.
Okay,
I
thank
saw her
you.
earlier. You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. James Tunn, not able to make it today. And George Topple.
Here.
I'm going to introduce Dinah Dumbrus. I'm present.
Oh, great. Thank you, Dinah.
Richard Hardaway is here.
Great. Thank you, Richard. All right, if you'll give me one moment, I'm going to confirm our count for attendance.
I see Dr. Robert LeMay is here, but he is on mute.
Okay. Thank you very
Janet
much.
Beck is here.
Great. Thank you very much. Anybody else here that after I've called their name?
Diane Knoll here.
Okay. Good morning, Diane.
Here, Dwayne Perry, Michigan City.
Great.
Good morning, Mayor.
Mr. Perry.
Good morning.
Carol,
Who
Lake
else was that?
Station.
I'm sorry. Yes, thank you. All right, one moment. I will confirm the attendance today.
Yeah. I think we
Bill
got it.
Carroll Lake.
Yes, we have 29 in attendance. We have met quorum.
Outstanding. So everybody can play today. Good morning, everyone. I just want to give you a couple of the ground rules because this is many of us probably have been participating in meetings on some platform, whether it be WebEx or this one, which is Zoom. Many of you, when you're first admitted here, you're admitted with your microphone off. So all you need to do is get yourself, if you're on a platform, if you're not on an iPad, but you're on a traditional desktop or you're on a laptop, move your cursor and bring it to the bottom of your screen. And that should start, as you approach it, you'll see a little icon that looks like a microphone and it's got mute underneath. It's got a line through it. That means that you can't be heard. Click on it and the line will come off. Also, next to that has an icon that looks a little bit like a side profile of an old 1960s camera. That's how you stop and start your video. Many of you apparently know that because you're not letting us see you. You've turned that feature off. And then the other place down there, you can either do it on the very top of the screen where you go and you can have your drop-down menus, or you can go to the bottom and you'll see a little two icons that look like two people standing, one behind the other. You click on that and it should off to the right-hand side, give you a list of all the people who are there, and you can scroll through and see them all. You can even have private chats with them if you like. And then you may have to sort of click on either the left side or the far right side of your screens, about the middle of them, because we have so many people here. You can actually see some of the participants who've left their screens on. You'll at least see some name that's on there. And those names generally are the names given to the device that they've come on. Also, are there any questions about that from everyone who's here? Very good, thank you. Then the next matter before us all is to allow for public comment. Now, ordinarily we would have sign in. This platform doesn't allow for that. So For those of you who are here, there is a feature where you can do a reaction, where you can actually do a thumbs up, or you can actually raise your hand, which is on the bottom of that participant bar that is off to the right side of your screen if you've triggered it. And at the very bottom, you'll see a raise hand. And if you'd like to raise your hand, I will scroll through if you wish to make any public comment this morning. No one wishes to make a public comment. I'm scrolling through myself, taking a look to see. It doesn't appear that anyone has done that. So that will close the matter of public comment. I'm sorry. Is that good for everybody? Okay, good. Then the next matter is the taking up of the minutes. You've had the minutes before you in the packet. The chair will entertain a motion to approve, if that's the pleasure of the body.
Motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second, Bob Carnahan.
Commissioner Benson and Commissioner Carnahan seconding to approve. Does the mover wish to speak in favor of his motion?
No, thank
Is
you.
there any, does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the motion? Hearing none, regrettably, because of the statute that governs this, Ms. Eklund, would you conduct a roll call, please?
Yes, certainly. Kyle Allen. David Anderson. Dwayne Arndt. Jeanette Baps. Janet Beck. Jeff Benson.
Aye.
Jim Biggs. Kevin Brightsky.
Yes.
Charlie Brown. Bill Carroll.
Yes.
Robert Carnahan.
Yes.
Anthony Copeland. Joshleen Denham. Tom Dermody. Dinah Dumbrus.
Aye.
Bill Emerson.
Yes.
Michael Griffin.
Yes.
Richard Hardaway.
Yes.
Tony Hendricks. Eric Hall.
Yes.
Thank you. Jack Geralds. Tim Jones.
Yes.
Somebody's recycling a noise. If they can take their mute on, perhaps. Thank you.
Justin Keel.
Aye.
Andrew Karas. Jeff Larson. Robert LeMay.
Yes.
Sue Lynch.
Yes.
Sheila Matias.
Aye.
Tom McDermott. Lori Mercer. Wendy Miss.
Yes.
Edward Morales. Matt Murphy. Diane Knoll.
Yes.
Dwayne Perry.
Yay.
David Peeler. Jerome Prince.
Yes.
Michael Rosenbaum. Rick Rifa. Carolyn Saxton.
Yes.
Tom Schmidt.
Yes.
Brian Snedecor.
Yes.
Ed Soliday.
Yes.
Joe Stahura.
Yes.
Greg Stinson.
Yes.
Gerald Swets.
Yes.
Sharon Zwido. Mary Tanis. James Tunn. And George Topple.
Yes.
Thank you. That completes the list.
Ms. Eklund, did you get a record a vote for Ms. Tanis?
No, I did not. Thank you very
Okay, there-
much.
If she wishes to vote, she may. Otherwise, there were 28 affirmatives, 1 no vote. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted and the minutes are approved. The next matter on the agenda is the report of the chair. If you'll forbear me one moment, I'm going to share something with you. I believe that's what I want to do. Can everyone see that on their screen? It should be the, should have the letterhead on the very top. My only report today is confined to a report of the nominating committee. The relevant statute is cited there. We have a vacancy on the executive board in consequence of the resignation of Will Farrellbeg, both from the executive board and from the Lowell Town Council. Under the statute, when that vacancy occurs, the successor should be chosen in a manner that first put the person on the board. So a nominating committee has not been formalized in any policy of the group. So I created, under the powers of the chair, an ad hoc nominating committee, which consisted of the officers of NIRPC as well as the immediate past chair. We convened by Zoom on 8th of May, Friday. And at that time at 10:30, after due deliberation and after consultation with the member we're recommending to you, we were recommending to the full commission this morning its consideration in favor for Mary Tanis, who represents the town of Dyer, on the commission, to be appointed to the unexpired term of the vacancy on the executive board. Ms. Tanis is here, and I can report to you she's accepted the nomination. So it would be in order at this time, the chair will receive a motion to approve the appointment or approve the appointment of Mary Tanis for the unexpired term.
Motion to approve.
Second.
The motion I heard is coming from Commissioner Hardaway, and the second I heard from Commissioner Benson. Does the mover wish to speak in favor of his motion? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Hearing none, Ms. Eklund, would you call the roll? And if you wish, you can simply call the roll of those you know who are present. Or you can call it entirely, it's okay.
I'm sorry, you broke up quite a bit. Are you asking for roll call after that, Michael?
I am, thank you.
Okay. All right. Kyle Allen. David Anderson. Dwayne Arndt. Jeanette Baps. Janet Beck.
Yes.
Jeff Benson.
Aye.
Jim Biggs. Kevin Brightsky. Kevin Brightsky, yes, okay,
Yes.
thank you. Charlie Brown.
Yes.
Bill Carroll.
Yes.
Robert Carnahan.
Yes.
Anthony Copeland. Jocelyn Denham. Tom Dermody. Dinah Dumbrus.
Aye. Did you get
Bill
that? Aye.
Emerson. Yes, I did, thank you. Bill Emerson.
Yes.
Michael Griffin.
I beg your pardon, yes.
Thank you. Richard Hardaway.
Yes.
Tony Hendricks. Eric Hall.
Yes.
Jack Geralds. Tim Jones.
Yes.
Justin Keel.
Yes.
Andrew Kyrus. Jeff Larson. Robert LeMay.
Yes.
Sue Lynch.
Yes.
Okay. Sheila Matias.
Yes.
Tom McDermott. Lori Mercer. Wendy Miss.
Yes.
Edward Morales. Matt Murphy. Diane Knoll.
Yes.
Dwayne Perry.
Yay.
David Peeler. Jerome Prince.
Yes.
Michael Rosenbaum. Rick Rifa. Carolyn Saxton.
Yes.
Tom Schmidt.
Yes.
Brian Snedecor.
Yes.
Ed Soliday.
Yes.
Joe Stahura.
Yes.
Greg Stinson.
Yes.
Gerald Swets.
Yes.
Sharon Zito. Mary Tanis. James Tunn. And George Topple.
Yes.
Thank you. That completes the list.
Thank you, Ms. Eklund. 29 affirmatives, no negatives. The motion passes, and Ms. Tanis has been duly appointed to the executive board. Congratulations, Ms. Tanis, and welcome. The next matter before the commission on our agenda is the report of the executive director. Ty, you're on.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Great to see your faces this morning. We've missed you. It's nice to see you bright-eyed and bushy-tailed here this morning. We have a lot of backlogged items, as you know, on the agenda, so I'm going to try to keep this brief, but just wanted to give you a quick update of where staff is at. We've been working remotely since mid-March, and I'm happy to say I'm really pleased staff has not skipped a beat in being able to deliver services and still get things processed. So that has all been worked really, really well. And we'll stay remote, at least for the foreseeable future, as we track the governor's stages of reopening, et cetera. But right now we are all remote, but all able to answer your calls and respond to your emails and everything else. Most committees, as you know, have been paused, except for we had finance personnel this morning. We had the technical planning committee earlier this month. And we know, as we've been revising and looking at our committee structure, that we need to do additional streamlining of those committees. So you should have received, and if you have not seen it, go back and please let us know, or if you did not get it, you should have received a survey for committee participation that is not actually for committee participation. We've revamped that to ask for your general interest. And so you can respond to that, and that will feed into further discussion of what our committees look like in the future. So it does not ask you specifically what committees you want to serve on. It merely asks you your interest of what you want to participate on. So appreciate your response to that. And has a few demographic questions we need to ask for Title VI and for our Economic Development District designation. So leading into those federal programs, let me just say in advance, our federal partners have been really accommodating during this time, as we've all been working remotely and needed to make concessions, as I'm sure you've experienced as well in your own communities. Some of the things on the agenda today that we have for approval technically would have been due before this all began, but because of the circumstances, we received the latitude to be able to put it on the agenda when next we met today. So just if there's any federal partners on the call that I didn't notice, I just want to thank you for your flexibility and helping us get to this point. As you know, the CARES Act was a big deal. A lot of dollars involved there for stimulus, and NIRPC is directly involved in two of those programs from two agencies. The FDA, Federal Transit Administration, released $25 billion to urbanized areas at 100% match. That can be used for a bit more things than what those funds can typically be used for. We were able to negotiate with the regional transportation authority around Chicago that we share those funds with, so that we received $75 million for Northwestern Indiana transit operators. Those have been dispersed with those operators. The bulk of those are to NICD for the South Shore Line, as they've had significant loss in ridership, and also to make sure that the Westlake and double track projects can still proceed. But quite a lot of funds that were given at 100% that we were able to utilize quickly, and just want to thank staff for acting on that. We had a very quick turnaround. All the federal agencies have said these dollars need to be allocated ASAP, so staff sprung into action to do this. And the other federal agency, the Economic Development District designation, as you know, was over 10 years in the making. All I can say is we got that designation just in time. The Economic Development Administration released $1.5 billion nationwide for economic development districts, as well as just overall competitive programs. So we'll be receiving some funds for what they call institutional grants or a designation as an EDD to develop programs to help with economic recovery. And we are already strategizing and working with the EDA on what that would look like. And then there's also a pool of $225 million was released to the Chicago area, Region 5. And about half of that is available for competitive projects. And that is another thing that's very important to act quickly on, so your communities can apply for these funds for economic development relief. The Economic Development Administration has defined, because of the pandemic and because of what it touches in economic impacts in all hosts of subject matters, there's a lot of eligibility and a good reason to be timely with those funds. Gabrielle Bachunas on our staff is the point person on assisting you with those applications to the Economic Development Administration. You should have received an email from her outlining the program and how to get in touch with her for assistance in applying for those funds. We also sent a similar notice to all the town managers, and we also sent the notice to the local economic development organizations. So we've tried to get the word out about the availability of these funds, and would really encourage you to try to act quickly for those. It is a competitive situation, so want to really underscore that. So I want to make sure I communicated that. That's really all I have for the report per se, other than to thank staff again for carrying through under difficult circumstances, as I know all of your own staffs have done as well.
Thank you, Todd, very much. Does any commissioner have a question of the executive director?
Yes, Charlie Brown here. How will
Hey,
each
Charlie.
town city become aware of this and are there deadlines?
Good question. The funds for the competitive grants have to be that are available until September of 2022. We've sent out notices. I don't know if the EDA has sent notices in addition to that. But if you did not receive anything from the EDA or did not see what we sent, please contact me or Gabrielle, and we will forward the information on to you so that you can be sure to pursue those.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Commissioner. Does anyone else have a question of the executive director? Ty, thank you again for your leadership, and I appreciate your report, as does the commission. Moving on then on our agenda, the next matter before the commission is just a status report. If you'll take a look in your packet, you'll see, let's see, what page would that be? It'd be immediately following the portion of the packet that had the report of the nominating committee ad hoc. You'll see a letter that was composed on behalf of the commission. This was actually a letter that was sent as a cover letter pursuant to the instruction that the commission gave us and authorized us to undertake, which was to prepare a resolution in its name to communicate the sense of the commission with regard to Lake Michigan erosion remediation. We did send that resolution along with a cover letter. And interestingly enough, it generated enough interest. The governor had asked for, he did not declare an emergency per se for Lake Michigan. He did take many of the steps we asked for in our resolution. And then he directed the commissioner or the director, they are not consistent with the titles and departmentalization at the state level. They have secretaries, commissioners, and directors, but I think it's the director of Homeland Security, a former fire chief of the city of South Bend. He got in touch with me, and then some of the people that are part of that agency who lead some of the agencies like FEMA and the like for state FEMA were also on the call. And we had a conversation with regard to the implications of the resolution. And they tried to explain to us why they didn't feel that they were in a position to instruct the governor to go ahead with a declaration of emergency. And particularly, they described what I was aware of with regard to when FEMA has an incident, they like a specific incident in a specific time and a specific dollar amount. So after that, and after consultation with the officers of NIRPC, I went ahead and asked that a survey letter be sent out by electronic mail to all of the communities that are riparian, meaning they're along the shoreline of Lake Michigan. And many of them have responded, just giving us an idea of any of the damage that they've experienced or some of their issues that they have. And if they have dates, that would have been helpful. I think we're past our deadline to get responses. Not everyone responded, but many did. So the next step, unless there's an objection, I believe, is that we will take that information and we'll redirect it to the governor, and we'll copy the director of the Department of Homeland Security and indicate that we do have some more facts and some more data. And our hope is that you'll take steps then accordingly to inform the governor. The idea would be that without the state's declaration, it can't trigger a federal declaration. And that was what is necessary if we're going to get any kind of federal assistance. It wouldn't necessarily delay state assistance, but they like to have both in the pipeline. Are there any questions of me with regard to this matter in your packet? Ty, you want to add anything, or Commissioner Benson? Because your community is really experiencing a significant amount of this issue.
We are, and at this point, we're doing our best to go it alone, which is very painful for the community, but we're without the help from the state or the county, or the feds, we're doing what we can. I might point out that it's not only the erosion, the high lake levels are also helping with the flooding in the rest of the communities because there's no place for the water to go. So this is a very big issue and it needs a lot of attention.
I
Mr. Chair,
would, if I could, I would just add I'm sorry.
if I may add, this is Carolyn Saxton at Ogden Jones. We also submitted our information to Ty because we've experienced an incredible situation over here in Ogden Dunes that is affecting the entire shoreline and all of the homes along that shoreline. In fact, it's now moved over to the west side, which it had not been as significant, but now is. So Ty, I guess my question to you is, I know that we put together the financial impact on Ogden Dunes. What was the total financial impact that you may have gotten from all of the communities along the shore?
That is a great question. I did not total that up. I could. I think we received responses from 4 of the coastal communities, and I have not totaled that yet. So, but I'd be glad to get you that figure after I go back and take a look.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you,
And just appreciate everybody's, and I was just going to underscore appreciating everybody's responsiveness to that. As Michael said, has said, we did that with some trepidation, knowing that you were all dealing with the pandemic. So to ask for more information on top of that, we know was a potential burden, and yet everyone responded very, very well. So if you have not responded to that in coastal impacts, it would be helpful to still do that, and we'll add that to the total.
Yes, thank you, Tom. All right, the next matter on the agenda is the report of the Finance and Personnel Committee. Commissioner Kyle. Justin, you're on.
Wrong person.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It has Justin Kyle on here, and it actually should say Commissioner Hardaway. I beg your pardon, Richard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome.
The Finance and Personnel Committee met this morning to review the financial reports for December 31st, 2019, as well as February 29th, 2020. Also reviewed were the bank reconciliation and claims registers for the month of February 2020. This morning, during our meeting, there were 5 actions that for consideration today. And the first one is procurement 20-08 for 2 South Shore shuttle connect buses for the city of Valparaiso. It comes with a favorable recommendation from the Finance and Personnel Committee.
Before we receive a motion, let's take this report item under informal consideration. Does any commissioner wish to address a question to the chair about the matter before us? Not this chair, the chair of the Finance and Personnel Committee. I hear no one. Okay. then this comes as a recommendation to us. It's a commit. I'm going to do something different. When it comes as a committee made up of more than two people, basically the committee recommendation becomes a motion and a second. So I'm going to ask then, because they're recommending it favorably, that represents a motion, and therefore favorably reported by the committee of more than two people, assuming that we're under Roberts, that basically becomes, you know what, we're not under Roberts. I'm going to take a motion. That's one of the problems of not having a policy, Ty. Is there a motion to accept the report and endorse the agreement for the two?
Bob Carnahan makes the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Carnahan. Is there a second?
George Topple makes the second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the recommendation of the Finance and Personnel Committee with regard to the purchase of the vehicles. Does the movers wish to speak in favor of it? In this case, I'm going to take the chair's prerogative and say it's probably been spoken in favor of quite well at the committee level, so we'll not hear that. Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the motion? Hearing none, then Ms. Eklund, if you would call the roll.
Mr. Chairman, you may want to reiterate your comment about whose names need to be called as part of the roll.
Thank you again. Ms. Eklund, just to remind you, you don't need to call the entire roll. I know that may be awkward because I don't know what sheet you're working off of. You only need to call the roll of those who are present at the time that you establish our quorum.
Yes, I understand. Thank you. Okay. It'll take just a bit longer. One moment. Okay. Okay. Janet Beck.
Aye.
Jeff Benson.
Aye.
Kevin Brightsky.
Yes.
Charlie Brown.
Yes.
Bill Carroll.
Yes.
Robert Carnahan.
Yes.
Dinah Dumbrus.
Yes.
Bill Emerson.
Yes.
Michael Griffin.
Yes.
Michael Griffin.
I don't think I'm on mute. I hope I was heard as saying yes.
I heard you this time. Thank you.
Very well.
Richard Hardaway.
Yes.
Eric Hall.
Yes.
Tim Jones.
Yes.
Justin Keel.
Yes.
Robert LeMay.
Yes.
Sue Lynch.
Yes.
Sheila.
Yes.
Lori Mercer. Wendy Miss.
Yes.
Diane Knoll.
Yes.
Dwayne Perry.
Yay.
Jerome Prince.
Yes.
Carolyn Saxton.
Yes.
Tom Schmidt.
Yes.
Brian Snedcore.
Yes.
Ed Soliday.
Yes.
Joe Sahura.
Yes.
Greg Stinson.
Yes.
Gerald Swets.
Yes.
Mary Tanis.
Yes.
George Topple.
Yes.
That concludes the list.
Thank you, Ms. Eklund. There were 29 affirmatives, no negatives. The motion passes. The agreement for the purchase of the vehicles for the city of Valparaiso is approved. Next matter, Mr. Hardaway.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have contract approval for professional services with SME in the amount of $499,800 for the purpose of providing eligible environmental assessment and cleanup planning services on eligible sites for eligible owners or prospective purchasers. NIRPC already received a $600,000 Brownfield Coalition Assessment Grant, which will cover the amount of this contract. This approval comes with a favorable recommendation from the Finance and Personnel Committee.
Thank you, Commissioner Hardaway. Are there any questions under informal consideration by the commission of the committee chair? Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the report and embrace the Brownfield Coalition Assessment Contract.
So moved.
Commissioner Benson moves the approval of the report and the contract. Is there a
I'll
second?
second.
Commissioner Brieske seconds. Do the movers wish to speak in favor of their motion? Hearing none, does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the motion? Hearing none, Ms. Eklund? Mayor Carroll, did you have a question? No? Would you then proceed?
No.
Ms. Eklund? Thank you. Ms. Eklund, please proceed with the roll call.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Janet Beck,
Aye.
Jeff Benson,
Aye.
Kevin Brightsky,
Yes.
Charlie Brown,
Yes.
Bill Carroll,
Yes.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Dinah Dumbrus,
Yes.
Bill Emerson,
Yes.
Michael
Yes.
Griffin,
Yes.
Richard Hardaway,
Yes.
Eric Hall,
Yes.
Tim Jones,
Yes.
Justin Keel,
Yes.
Robert LeMay,
Yes.
Sue Lynch,
Yes.
Sheila Matias,
Yes.
Lori Mercer. Not sure why she's not responding. Wendy Miss,
Yes.
Diane Knoll,
Yes.
Dwayne Perry, Jerome Prince,
Yes.
Yay for Perry. Yay for Dwayne Perry. Sorry, I was muted.
that's okay, thank you very much. Okay, Carolyn Saxton,
Yes.
Tom Schmidt,
Yes.
Brian Snedcore,
Yes.
Ed Soliday,
Yes.
Joe Stahura,
Yes.
Greg Stinson,
Yes.
Gerald Swets,
Yes.
Mary Tanis,
Yes.
and George Topple.
Yes.
That concludes the list.
Thank you, Ms. Eklund. There were 29 affirmatives, no negatives. The motion passes. The Brownfield Coalition Assessment Contract is approved. Commissioner Hardaway, your next matter before us, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Contract approval for professional services with the South Shore Clean Cities, not to exceed $350,640 for the purpose of air quality, public education through social media advertising, and public events, operating the Green Fleets program, which provides technical assistance to fleet managers and owners on reducing air pollution, and through support of Partners for Clean Air activities for the PL funding for 2021. This contract approval also comes with a favorable recommendation from the Finance and Personnel Committee.
Motion to approve.
There's been a motion by whom?
Jeff Benson.
Commissioner Benson moves to approve the recommendation. Is there a second?
Second.
Second,
George.
Bob Carnahan.
I got Commissioner Topel first. I'm sorry about that, Commissioner Carnahan. You will get in the minutes, I'm sure of it. Okay, it has
I'm
been moved
already
and
there.
seconded. Oh, that's right. We have a roll call on all of these, so you'll be in it a lot. It has been moved and seconded to approve the air quality public education contract with South Shore Clean Cities for its fiscal year of 2021. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor? Do the movers wish to speak in favor of their motion? Hearing none. Does anyone wish to speak in opposition? Hearing none. Ms. Eklund, please convene the roll call. Conduct the roll call. I beg your pardon.
Certainly. Janet Beck,
Aye.
Jeff Benson,
Aye.
Kevin Brightsky,
Yes.
Charlie Brown, Bill Carroll. Bill Carroll. Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Dinah Dumbrus.
Yes.
I'm sorry, yes, Bill Carroll?
Okay, thank you very much. Bill Emerson,
Yes.
Michael Griffin,
Yes.
Richard Hardaway,
Yes.
Eric Hall,
Yes.
Tim Jones,
Yes.
Justin Keel,
Yes.
Robert Lemay,
Yes.
Sue Lynch,
Yes.
Sheila Matias,
Yes.
Wendy Miss,
Yes.
Diane Knoll,
Yes.
Dwayne Perry,
Yay.
Jerome Prince,
Yes.
Carolyn Saxton,
Yes.
Tom Schmidt,
Yes.
Brian Snedecor,
Yes.
Ed Soliday,
Yes.
Joe Stahura,
Yes.
Greg Stinson,
Yes.
Gerald Swets,
Yes.
Mary Tanis,
Yes.
George Topple.
Yes.
That concludes the list.
Thank you, Ms. Eklund. 29 yeses, no negatives. The motion passes. The air quality education contract with South Shore Cities is approved by the full commission. Mr. Hardaway, do you have any other matters before us? I think there's two matters because this is taken out of order from my agenda.
Yes,
Okay.
I have two more.
Thank you.
NIRPC's last Title VI program update was in 2017. For 2020, a number of changes were made for the improvement with the current program areas to meet all new requirements set forth. This resolution approval comes with a favorable recommendation from the Finance and Personnel Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner Hardaway. Does anyone wish under informal consideration to pose a question to the committee chair? Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion.
Bob Carnahan makes that a motion.
Commissioner Carnahan moves to approve the Title VI program. Resolution 2005, I believe it is. Is there a second?
Yes.
Say again, the seconder. Is there a second?
Diane Knoll, second.
Diane Knoll, go.
All right, Commissioner Knowles seconds. Does the mover of the motion wish to speak in favor of their motion? Does the seconder wish, does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the motion? Hearing none, Ms. Eklund, if you'll conduct a roll call, please, on resolution 2005.
Yes. Janet Beck,
Yes.
Jeff Benson,
Yes.
Kevin Brightsky,
Yes.
Charlie Brown,
Yes.
thank you. Bill Carroll. Bill
Yes.
Carroll, yes, thank you. Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Dinah Dumbrus,
Yes.
Bill Emerson,
Yes.
Michael Griffin,
Yes.
Richard Hardaway,
Yes.
Eric Hall,
Yes.
Tim Jones,
Yes.
Justin Keel,
Yes.
Robert Lemay,
Yes.
Sue Lynch,
Yes.
Sheila Matias,
Yes.
Wendy Miss,
Yes.
Diane Knoll,
Aye.
Dwayne Perry,
Yay.
Jerome Prince,
Yes.
Carolyn Saxton,
Yes.
Tom Schmidt,
Yes.
Brian Snedecor,
Yes.
Ed Soliday,
Yes.
Joe Stahura,
Yes.
Greg Stinson,
Yes.
Gerald Swets,
Yes.
Mary Tanis,
Yeah.
and George Topple.
Yes.
That concludes the list.
Thank you, Ms. Eklund. 29 affirmatives, no negatives. The motion passes. Resolution 20-05 is adopted. Next matter, Mr. Hardaway.
And this is my final matter, Mr. Chairman. It's the economic development procedure, and I'll let Ty speak to this.
Thank you very much, Richard. So the resolution that's in your packet for the Economic Development District is related to an application that has actually already been submitted to the Economic Development Administration. This is directly tied to our economic development designation prior to the CARES Act funds that I mentioned earlier. As part of the normal designation, we receive funds for operating as the Economic Development District. That is in the amount of $70,000 that we receive, but we also have to match that with $70,000. So what this resolution does is EDA has actually already approved or has accepted the resolution. Everything's in order there. It's just waiting for your approval given COVID-19. Again, this was another matter of flexibility. So this is commission approval after the application has already been submitted. It basically authorizes the submittal of that application and then authorizes the use of $70,000 in local funds to receive that $70,000 in federal match. So again, everything's in order with EDA. This is sort of an after the fact approval so we can follow up with them with the formal endorsement by the governing board.
Thank you, Ty. Did you want to offer any closing comments, Mr. Chairman of the committee, Mr. Commissioner Hardaway?
No, sir. Thank you.
Very well. Under informal consideration, does anyone on the commission wish to ask a question of the executive director or the committee chair? There being none, the chair will entertain a motion then to approve resolution 2009.
So moved.
The maker of the motion, I beg the commissioner's pardon. Who made the motion?
Greg Stinson.
Thank you, Greg. I should have recognized your voice. I apologize. I did
No,
not. Commissioner
problem.
Stinson made the motion, and who has seconded?
Carnahan.
Commissioner Carnahan has seconded. Does the mover or the seconder wish to speak in favor of their motion? Hearing none. Does anyone wish to speak in opposition? Hearing none. Ms. Eklund, would you proceed with the roll call?
Yes, Janet Beck. Yes. Jeff Benson,
Aye.
Kevin Brightsky,
Yes.
Charlie Brown,
Yes.
Bill Carroll,
Yes.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Dinah Dumbrus,
Yes.
Bill Carroll. I'm so sorry.
Yes.
Bill Emerson. My apology.
Yes.
Bill Emerson.
No problem. Yes.
Thank you, Bill. Michael Griffin,
Yes.
Richard Hardaway,
Yes.
Eric Hall,
Yes.
Tim Jones,
Yes.
Justin Keel,
Yes.
Robert LeMay,
Yes.
Sue Lynch,
Yes.
Sheila Matias,
Yes.
Wendy Miss,
Yes.
Diane Knoll,
Yes.
Dwayne Perry,
Yay.
Jerome Prince,
Yes.
Carolyn Saxton,
Yes.
Tom Schmidt,
Yes.
Brian Snedecor,
Yes.
Ed Soliday,
Yes.
Joe Stahura,
Yes.
Greg Stinson,
Yes.
Gerald Swets,
Yes.
Mary Tanis,
Yes.
and George Topple.
Yes.
That concludes the list.
Thank you, Ms. Eklund. 29 affirmatives, no negatives. The motion passes. Resolution 20-09 is adopted. And I thank the committee for its report, and I thank its chair for its timely presentation. Next matter before us is the presentation from the Technical Planning Committee. I recognize Kevin Brisky as its chair. Good morning, Commissioner Brisky.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning to all of you. The Technical Planning Committee met virtually on Tuesday, May 12th at 10 a.m. I believe that was the first virtual meeting we had, so I appreciate the staff doing a dress rehearsal with us and taking the time on Monday, the day before. Things went through pretty seamlessly on Tuesday as a result. I'll begin with the first thing. With the good news is there's no vote after this. This is an informal presentation by Mitch Barloga on the draft Living Streets policy, which can be found on page 47 of your packet. Mitch will explain the policy and our next steps.
Hi, Kevin. This is Kathy. Mitch was called away and he asked me to speak to this. This is not, as Kevin mentioned, a request for action, but this is a policy that staff have been working with the various committees on for several months, and we wanted to just provide you with this advance kind of preview of it. This policy would expand our existing complete streets policy, which requires transportation projects to consider pedestrians and all users of streetways in their project design. This will expand that to stormwater management, green infrastructure, and healthy street design, and as well as universal design. So that's the idea of the policy. I don't want to take more time on this meeting with that, but we will be bringing it forward to you probably at the next meeting, and hopefully your engineers or stormwater people have been participating in the policy discussion, and none of this should be a surprise when we go to vote on it next month, or the next meeting, I should say.
Thank you, Kathy. Now for the bad news. There are 6 actions for consideration today with votes. The first action is Resolution 2010 regarding air quality conformity determinations for the NWI 2050 plan amendments. Scott Weber will first provide a summary of the public comment report and then explain the action. The Technical Planning Committee recommends adoption of Resolution 2010 that can be found beginning on page 53 of your packet.
3 of your packet contains the public conformity determination for one and the transportation improvement. The public comment, and there are no comments received. And then, should I go to the action?
Yes.
And starting on page 50, this deals with the report itself about amendment 2050 and amendment number transportation improvement program. This agency consultation group and recommendation of the Technical Planning Committee on May.
Excuse me, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Is anyone else having difficulty hearing?
I am. It is about his feed. He's doing a great job. It isn't the Zoom. It is, everybody doesn't, all internet platforms are not created equal. So that's basically a bandwidth issue, I can tell. It's pixelating his vocal, but not his picture. So did anybody hear any of that information? Is there any way, perhaps, Mr. Brisky, you could, as the committee chair in Scott's place, give us a summary appropriate enough to inform us before we make a vote?
Or perhaps I could have Charles Bradsky introduce this. Charles, are you there?
Excuse me, Michael, you might have Scott turn off his video and see if just the audio works better.
That's a good idea.
Excellent idea.
Try
Scott,
that.
can you turn off your video, please? And then just talk to us a little bit.
Is this an improvement?
No, you're pixelating
Oh.
still.
Okay.
It's a bandwidth issue on yours. Apparently you don't stream where you live. You just do email or something perhaps. Anyway, that's not your issue, Scott.
Anyway.
Thank you though. Kevin, Charles is here. Mr. Brasky's here. Is he available to perhaps step in for Mr. Weber? We had a conversation at the opening of the meeting this morning, or in advance of the meeting, as a matter of fact.
Well, and he's on later in the meeting, so
He might be somewhere else then.
I am here.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brasky. We were having trouble getting, Scott wasn't coming across because his audio was pixelating a bit. Actually, pixelating refers to a visual deal, but they use it now for audio in the context of online things. Having said that, is there a way you could stand in for Scott and give us the summary information to help inform the commissioners should they be inclined to take up a vote on Resolution 2010?
To be honest with you, I don't.
Okay.
I don't feel comfortable standing in for Scott.
Okay, do we have anybody else on staff, Kathy or James?
Yes, the resolution 2010, that's the one we're on, correct?
Yes, it is.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
So certain activities when we change a transportation project into a different time frame or a different scope or scale that adds capacity makes it a plan amendment. And then that also requires us to update the air quality models to prove that doing this, whatever it is, or moving whatever it is back to a different model year, we will still be in our air emissions budget. So that is essentially the purpose of 2010 is to first adopt the changes to the conformity, which Scott will have modeled and demonstrated meets our air emission budget, because that's the required order. First, you have to prove conformity, then you can adopt a plan amendment, then you can adopt the tip with project change. So that's fundamentally the purpose of Resolution 2010 is to approve the air conformity modeling report results. It's fairly technical, but that's the purpose of this resolution.
And they were, I want to make sure I understand this myself, Kathy. This was made necessary because of some of the changes to the tip that would be illustrated on the accompanying report, beginning on, it looks like packet page 63, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, 62, I beg the body's pardon. Okay, that makes sense to me, actually. Does anybody wish to pose a question on an informal consideration to the committee chair or its members? No one seems to wish. The chair will entertain a motion to approve Resolution 20-10.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Hardaway moves, and it is seconded by Commissioner Benson to approve Resolution 20-10. Does the mover wish to speak in favor of his motion? Hearing none. Does anybody wish to speak in opposition to the motion? Hearing none. Ms. Eklund, once again, we call upon your dulcet tones to pronounce the roll call.
Absolutely. Okay. So for Resolution 2010, Janet Beck.
Yes.
Jeff Benson. Jeff Benson.
Aye, sorry.
That's okay. Kevin Brightsky.
Yes.
Charlie Brown.
Yes.
Bill Carroll.
Yes.
Robert Carnahan. Robert Carnahan. Okay. Dinah Dumbrus.
Yes.
Bill Emerson.
Yes.
Michael Griffin.
Yes.
Richard Hardaway.
Yes.
Eric Hall.
Yes.
Tim Jones.
Yes.
Justin Keel.
Yes.
Robert Lemay,
Yes.
Sue Lynch,
Yes.
Sheila Matias.
Yes.
I am going to mention Lori Mercer. She's been in contact. She did sign on in the beginning and has had issues. So Lori Mercer. Okay, still having issue.
All right.
Wendy? Yes.
I'm sorry, did that complete your roll call, Ms. Eklund?
No,
Did
sir, it
not.
hasn't.
Okay.
It did not.
Go ahead.
Wendy Miss,
Yes.
Diane Knoll,
Yes.
Dwayne Perry, Dwayne Perry.
Yay.
Yes, thank you. Jerome Prince,
Yes.
Carolyn Saxton has left the meeting. Tom Schmidt,
Yes.
Brian Snedecor, Brian Snedecor, Ed Soliday,
Yes.
Joe Stahura,
Yes.
Greg Stinson,
Yes.
Gerald Swets,
Yes.
Mary Tanis,
Yes.
and George Topple.
Yes.
That concludes the list.
Thank you, Ms. Eklund, and you're doing a great job. This is not something we ordinarily have to do, and as somebody who does roll calls for a living, you're doing great. But I don't nearly have to call as many folks as you do. The chair heard 26 affirmatives, 2 not voting. The motion passes. The resolution is adopted. Next matter.
The second action is on Resolution 2013, Amendment Number 1 to the Northwest Indiana 2050 Plan. First, we'll provide a summary of the 30-day comment period for the amendment and explain the action. The comment report starts on page 77 of your packet, followed by the resolution. The Technical Planning Committee recommends adoption of 2013. Kathy, could you help me again on 2013 since it involves the agency participation?
Yes, I'm trying to figure out which window I have this in. So this is the plan amendment, the public comment report on the plan amendment. We did not receive comments specific to the actual plan amendment, more generic related to government in general.
I read that.
The particular projects, I finally found it. The particular projects that are amendments that are requiring the conformity and the plan amendment are adding a center turn lane on 45th Street at Whitcomb, between Whitcomb and Chase. Also Kennedy Avenue expansion and more about the Kennedy Avenue extended travel lane. So those amendments are capacity changes, and that's why we have to do the previous action and this one action. So this is now that we've proven that we passed the air budget, now we have to amend the plan to modify these projects so that we can actually fund them in the next motion.
And specific to that, these are changes in the Northwest Indiana 2050 plan.
Oh,
so
thanks,
we're
that's
dealing
good.
with the, as Kathy said, Kennedy Avenue for the expansion from Oak Street to US 30, and that should be completed by 2025. 45th Street for a center turn lane, Whitcomb to Chase Streets, and Kennedy Avenue added travel lanes from Maine to Oak. And that's planned to be complete by 2030.
And that's the change. They moved from 25 to 2030, which made it a different model year, which made it a different plan, change all of the traffic models 5 years out. So
I did misspeak. Kennedy Avenue expansion is to be complete, combined into the complete for 2030. So that's what this resolution is about, and also about the conformity and fiscal consistency. It's fiscally constrained and consistent with state implementation plan for air quality.
So this amendment is the subject of Resolution 2013, is that correct?
Correct.
All right. The committee obviously recommends its favor for adoption. Does anybody wish to question the committee under informal consideration? I hear no one. Does the chair will entertain a motion at this time?
So moved.
Who
Second.
moved?
Jeff Benson.
Jeff Benson seconded. Who moved?
Jeff Benson moved.
You did. Okay. Who seconded?
Bill Carroll.
Thank you so much, Mayor Carroll. It has been moved by Commissioner Benson and seconded by Commissioner Carroll to approve resolution number 20-13. Does the mover or the seconder wish to speak in favor of the motion? Not hearing that. Does anyone wish to speak in opposition? Not hearing that. Ms. Eklund, once again, if you will, please call the roll.
Janet Beck,
Yes.
Jeff Benson,
Yes.
Kevin Brightsky,
Yes.
Charlie Brown,
Yes.
Bill Carroll,
Yes.
Robert Carnahan, Dinah Dumbrus,
Yes.
Bill Emerson,
Yes.
Michael Griffin,
Yes.
Richard Hardaway,
Yes.
Eric Hall,
Yes.
Tim Jones,
Yes.
Justin Keel,
Yes.
Robert LeMay,
Yes.
Sue Lynch,
Yes.
Sheila Matias,
Yes.
Wendy Miss,
Yes.
Diane Knoll,
Yes.
Dwayne Perry,
Yay.
Jerome Prince,
Yes.
Tom Schmidt,
Yes.
Brian Snedecor, Ed Soliday,
Yes.
Joe Stahura,
Yes.
Greg Stinson,
Yes.
Gerald Swets,
Yes.
Mary Tanis,
Yeah.
and George Topol.
Yes.
That concludes the list.
If I could,
Yes.
Mr. Chair, actually, Andrew Kears has joined us from Crown Point somewhere along the way, and if he's still on, he is prepared to vote.
Mr. Karas, what is your vote? This would be a vote on resolution 20-13. Are you prepared to cast a vote this morning? And good morning, by the way, Andrew. Welcome.
You may be muted.
So did Commissioner Carnahan respond to you? Do you remember, Ms. Eklund?
No, he did not.
All right, so I'm declaring the vote to be 26 affirmatives, no negatives, 3 no voting. Therefore, the motion passes, the resolution is adopted. And in each case, even with the change by somebody leaving, not somebody joining us, 15 votes are necessary for passage. So we've got a great margin there. Next matter before the commission, Commissioner Britsky.
The third action is for Resolution 2011, Amendment Number 5 to the fiscal year 2020-2024 Transportation Improvement Program. Charles Bratsky, I'm going to ask him to go ahead and provide a summary of the 30-day comment period for this amendment and for the next 2. So Charles, if you go ahead and explain the action for resolution or
Thank you, Commissioner. My apologies. I was having troubles with my video and then my audio, and with all my training is impromptu speaking. Nothing came out of my mouth other than earlier.
I apologize for
nothing.
putting you on the spot.
So anyway, moving on. This is the actually public comment report for amendments number 5, 6, and 7 to the tip. That would be items number 10.6, 10.8, and 10.10. NIRPC staff had 3 amendments, and because of that, 3 amendments to the tip, it was decided to hold only 1 public comment period for all 3 amendments. This would make it easier for the public to comment without having to go through extra steps to delegate what item they were commenting on. But as a follow-up, no comments from the public were received on any of the 3 amendments. NIRPC did receive several technical comments from the Interagency Consultation Group, or ICG. These comments and their responses are listed on pages 82 and 83 of the commission packet. The questions are listed in black and the responses are given in red. Are there any questions on the comments?
Maybe it should be worthwhile to explain what the ICG's function is for FHWA.
The ICG's function is to look at the technical aspects of any amendments, whether or not there's air quality compliance, or if there's environmental issues, any compliance, and making sure that in general, all of any projects on the amendment are following technical protocol.
So this is for federal conformity, and that's the Interagency Consultation Group represents the federal agencies as FHWA, and EPA, et cetera. So it's a good dialogue. But why don't we go on to explain the resolution 2011?
Okay, this amendment comprises of 48 projects. This is Resolution 2011 Amendment Number 5. This amendment comprises 48 projects and covers fiscal years 2020 to 2024. This amendment was created 2 months ago. So here is a summary. If you'd like to follow along, these projects can be found on pages 86 to 126 of the commission packet and are listed according to sponsor. The local projects include Burns Harbor. They had additional funds to their trail project. Crown Point had additional funds to 2 roadway projects on 109th. Hammond had addition to 1 roadway project. Hobart had additional funds to a roundabout project. The city of LaPorte had
Mitch, I think we lost you.
I'm still here. You lost Charles.
Or Charles, yeah. Is Mitch back yet?
I'm still here.
Well, can you contact
Charles?
Or?
We're trying to get hold of him.
Thank you.
He's still connected. I can see him still on the screen. Well, now Ty is there.
He needs to be advised that we can't hear or see him.
Yeah.
okay. Where did I lose everybody?
LaPorte.
Wasn't it LaPorte?
LaPorte. Okay, the city of LaPorte had elimination of 2 projects, 1 pedestrian, 1 roadway. LaPorte County had additional funds to 1 trail project and 2 bridge projects. Lake County had additional funds for 1 roadway project. Portage had additional funds to 2 roadway projects, an additional phase for a trail project. And finally, NDOT had addition of 33 new projects. Any questions?
Are there any questions for Charles while he's on?
Yeah.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Who moved?
Second.
Tim Jones.
Second.
Commissioner Jones and Commissioner Benson seconding, is that correct? Okay, Commissioner Jones moved and Commissioner Benson seconded the adoption of Resolution 20-11. Does the mover or the seconder wish to speak in affirmation of their, or in support of their motion? Hearing none, does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the motion? Hearing none, Ms. Eklund, would you please conduct a roll call? This will be on the vote to support Resolution 2011.
She's muted.
Ms. Eklund has got her.
Okay, my apologies. Janet Beck?
Yes.
Jeff Benson?
Aye.
Kevin Brightsky?
Yes.
Charlie Brown?
Yes.
Bill Carroll?
Yes.
Robert Carnahan? Must have left the meeting. Dinah Dumbrus?
Yes.
Bill Emerson?
Yes.
Bob Carnahan, yes.
Thank you, Bob. Michael Griffin?
Yes.
Richard Hardaway?
Yes.
Eric Hall?
Yes.
Tim Jones?
Yes.
Justin Keel?
Yes.
Did Andrew Kyries join? No, okay. Robert LeMay?
Yes.
Sue Lynch?
Yes.
Sheila Matthias?
Hold on. Yes.
Yes. Wendy Miss?
Yes.
Diane Knoll?
Yes.
Dwayne Perry?
Yay.
Jerome Prince?
Yes.
Tom Schmidt?
Yes.
Brian Snedecor? Ed Soliday?
Yes.
Joe Stahura?
Yes.
Greg Stinson?
Yes.
Gerald Swets?
Yes.
Mary Tanis?
Yes.
And George Topple?
Yes.
Thank you. That concludes the list.
Thank you, Ms. Eklund. I have 26 affirmatives, no negatives, and 2 no responses. Therefore, the motion passes and the resolution is adopted. Mr. Breeke, please continue.
Thank you. James Winter will explain our fourth action, Resolution 2012, Amendment number 6 to the fiscal year 2020-2024 Transportation Improvement Program. The resolution can be found on page 27 of your packet, and the Technical Planning Committee recommends adoption of Resolution 2012. James, are you there?
Yep, thank you very much. So I'm here to speak about amendment number 6, which is a transit amendment. Many of you may know that NIRPC has 7 subrecipients that receive transit funds, and we act as a direct recipient on their behalf. Something that we do every year is we conduct an internal audit with the finance team to assess how much carryover funding we have currently in the grant so that we could lower our obligation of future federal funds to use. So this is a standard process that we do every year. Most of our changes we were able to accomplish using modifications. There was one amendment that was required. And so if you look in your packet on page 129, there's a summary of this change, and it is about the operator of East Chicago. We found in our audit that East Chicago had not quite enough operational funds to make it through another year, but we saw that they had enough carryover of preventative maintenance funding to make it through another year. So all that's happening in this amendment is we're moving $200,000 of federal funding from their preventative maintenance line item into an operational line item. Because our TIP doesn't currently have the capability to indicate that a project is being paid with carryover funding that's already in a grant, you'll notice that their preventative maintenance line item has been reduced to $1. That's a placeholder so that we can continue to monitor that project with FTA and make any changes to it if we need to. But we are fully funding that preventative maintenance project for 2020 using old funding and moving the new funding that they would have received to operating assistance.
Any questions for James? Mr. Chair, if you'd ask for a motion, please.
I'll be pleased to do that. And I thank you both for the presentation. If there's no informal questions as evidenced by the chair, the committee chair's request, the chair will entertain a motion with regard to the disposition of resolution 20-12.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner
Second.
Benson, who seconded?
Mayor Carroll.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mayor Carroll. Commissioner Benson, seconded by Commissioner Carroll, the adoption of resolution 2012. Do you wish to speak in favor of your motion? I didn't think you did. Does anyone wish to speak against it? I knew you didn't. Please, Ms. Eklund, if you would please go ahead and proceed to conduct the roll call.
Yes, certainly. Janet Beck,
Yes.
Jeff Benson,
Yes.
Kevin Brightsky,
Yes.
Charlie Brown,
Yes.
Bill Carroll,
Yes.
Robert Carnahan.
Yes. Did you get that?
Yes, I
Yes.
did. Thank you, Robert. Dinah Dumbrus,
Yes.
Bill Emerson,
Yes.
Michael Griffin,
Yes.
Richard Hardaway,
Yes.
Eric Hall,
Yes.
Tim Jones,
Yes.
Justin Keel,
Yes.
Robert LeMay,
Yes.
Sue Lynch,
Yes.
Sheila Matias,
Yes.
Wendy Miss,
Yes.
Diane Knoll,
Yes.
Dwayne Perry,
Yay.
Jerome Prince,
Yes.
Tom Schmidt,
Yes.
Ed Soliday,
Yes.
Joe Sahura,
Yes.
Greg Stinson,
Yes.
Gerald Swets,
Yes.
Mary Tanis,
Yes.
and George Topo.
Yes.
That
Do
concludes.
you want to try Andrew Kears again?
Sure. Andrew Kiris. Andrew Kiris.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you all very much. The chair finds that there were 26 affirmatives, no negatives, and 1 no responding. Therefore, the affirmatives have it. The motion passes and the resolution 20-12 is adopted. Mr. Britsky, continue, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Charles Brasky will present the 5th action, which is for Resolution 2014, Amendment number 7 to the Transportation Improvement Program. Charles will explain the action, and the resolution can be found on page 135 of your packet. The Technical Planning Committee recommended adoption of Resolution 2014.
Morning again, Commissioners. This amendment has one project on it, Cherville's Kennedy Avenue, Phase 1. That project is on pages 137 and 138. This project is being moving it from fiscal year 2021 to beyond fiscal year 2024. The reason this project is on its own separate amendment is that this project affects NIRPC's long-range plan, NWI 2050, for conformity, as mentioned by Scott Weber in resolutions 20-10 and 20-13, pages 54 to 81. Whereas the previous mentioned 48 projects listed in amendment number 5 don't. Those of you who are more astute, you may have noticed that there's one other project that's mentioned in the NWI 2050 plan, Lake County's 45th Street. That project is only adding a right-of-way phase, whereas this project, the construction phase is moving out of the 2020 to 24 tip. It is, however, Cherville's intent to submit this project to the NIRPC's next call for projects, our Notice of Funding Availability, or NOFA, this fall, and to be constructed sometime between 2025 and 2027. There is very little risk to this project. Cherville has indicated that they are lining this project up with the local tracks project, and it helps the flow of everything. All the other projects that they have going on, the other different phases for this. Are there any questions?
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr.
Did you ask
Chairman.
for a motion?
Yes, it would be in order then to make a motion for the disposition of Resolution 2014.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Benson moved and it was seconded by Commissioner Schmidt. Does the mover or the seconder wish to speak in favor of their motion? Hearing none, does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the motion? Hearing none, Ms. Eklund, if you will once again kindly please pronounce the roll call.
Yes, for Amendment 7, Resolution 2014. Janet Beck.
Yes.
Jeff Benson.
Yes.
Kevin Brightsky.
Yes.
Charlie Brown.
Yes.
Bill Carroll.
Yes.
Robert Carnahan.
Yes.
Dinah Dumbrus.
Yes. Yes.
Bill Emerson. Thank you. Bill Emerson.
Yes.
Michael Griffin.
Yes.
Richard Hardaway.
Yes.
Eric Hall.
Yes.
Tim Jones.
Yes.
Justin Keel.
Yes.
Robert LeMay.
Yes.
Sue Lynch.
Yes.
Sheila Matias.
Yes.
Wendy Miss.
Yes.
Diane Knoll.
Yes.
Dwayne Perry. Dwayne Perry. Jerome Prince.
Yes.
Tom Schmidt.
Yes.
Ed Soliday.
Yes.
Joe Stahura.
Yes.
Greg Stinson.
Yes.
Gerald Swets.
Yes.
Mary Tanis.
Yes.
And George Topple.
Yes.
That concludes the list.
I thank you, Ms. Eklund, and I thank the commission. The chair reads 26 affirmatives, no negatives, 1 no response, or it could be 2 because Ms. Kiris didn't respond either. Therefore, the motion passes. The resolution is adopted. Mr. Britsky.
The sixth and final action is for Resolution 2015 for the fiscal year 2021-2022 United Planning Work Program, as we know as the UPWP. Kathy Luther will explain the action and present highlights of the UPWP. The resolution can be found on page 139 of your packet, and part of it's showing on your screen right now. The Technical Planning Committee recommended adoption of Resolution 2015. Kathy, please. Is Kathy there?
Sorry, I
She's,
forgot I had to
share-
unmute
she's sharing-
myself. I was so
sharing her
worried
screen,
about the
but
screen.
Thank you, Kathy.
Um,
Let's go.
Okay.
So I wanted to, this is the Unified Planning Work Program, or as we're calling it, Plan NWI, is a rather large document. So, and I know we have a number of new commissioners this year, and I wanted to give just a hopefully very short overview of what exactly this document is that we are asking for adoption. And then if you have questions, you can ask. So what is Plan NWI? It's one of our 3 required core planning documents as a metropolitan planning organization. It functions as a scope of work for our entire transportation planning area and all the funds we receive through the Department of Transportation. So it's basically what are we doing with $1.5 million in federal funds and what we are doing with the $380,000 of local match needed to use those funds. So if people say, what exactly does NIRPC do? Or if you ask yourself, what are they doing? This is a huge chunk of it. And all the previous amendments and resolutions we passed under the Technical Planning Committee are all the results of this work plan. So why are we required to do this? It provides transparency in both our transportation planning activities and in what we're doing with your tax dollars. Just so you know that the revenue represented in this one work plan is 75% of our annual operating budget and utilizes 82% of our county revenues. By comparison, the Economic Development District will utilize 13% of our local revenue to generate 4% of our operating budget. And in fact, the CMAQ funds, which are the air quality public education, do not utilize any of the county revenue. These funds are also represent 61% of our entire direct salary budget, 58% of our fringe benefits, and 61% of our kind of overhead. So this one document is all the things we do to earn a lot of our funding. And this is just showing you as a work program, the activities are divided into several categories. And like I mentioned, they include all the different funding sources we receive from the Department of Transportation. I don't want to go in a huge amount of detail. Just note that the local share for air quality public education is provided by region partners. It's primarily a cash match now, which we don't have, which is why so much of it is contracted out. And then just to explain to you kind of how to read the document for a high level view, I want to show you a couple of the group block headings. Oh, first, how is it distributed? What do we use the funds on? About 20% on public participation and management. Another 20% on long range planning and implementation. And then short range planning is 8%, data collection is 12%. Anyway, you can read the pie chart, but it's just kind of say, what do we do with the money? And then, so each section, so in the document, there's some really, really small print tables showing you all the staff hours associated with each task in the document. But at the front of each section, there's a small, there's a table showing you the budget for that section and the actual planning tasks that are covered within it. So you could like skip through and do all the groups settings. This would be an example for the planning management and what we're doing under that task. Another example is the data collection and analysis, which includes the modeling, traffic collection, and things like that. So this is an example of what that budget looks like. This document is a 2-year planning document, but will be coming to you probably early next year with a major amendment as we adjust for funding changes in 2022. Then those are called the planning funds that come from NDOT. The Federal Transit Administration also, we have grants through that to oversee the subrecipients, which is sort of what James was talking a little bit about in his TIP amendment presentation. So this is the funding that we receive for that. A chunk of our county revenue goes to match these funds. And then these are the additional other 2 activities that fall under different funding programs. So that's really the kind of brief overview. I just wanted to be able to put this in context. So, and not read it to you because you can all read. If you have any questions, please, I will look for the hand raising or Kevin or.
The bottom line is this is a requirement as a metropolitan area transportation planning agency and for transparency for the Fed. And we have to be mindful of our state charge with regional planning responsibility for environment, economic development, and transportation. So that fulfills these roles. And it's a living document. It's constantly changing for the better. Any questions for Kathy? I don't hear anybody.
I don't hear anything either. Kathy Luther, Madam Chief of Staff, thank you, by the way, for stepping in when you didn't know you would have to, and for making this presentation as well. If there are no questions, then the chair will entertain a motion on the disposition of Resolution 2015, which deals with the Unified Work Plan. And if you would, Ms. Luther, would you please release your screen sharing?
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
So moved.
Sorry.
Commissioner Benson moves and seconded by Commissioner Lynch. Thank you, Ms. Lynch. It's good to see you, Mayor Lynch. It's been moved and seconded. Do the mover or the seconder wish to speak in favor of their motion? Don't hear anyone. Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the motion? Don't hear anyone. Ms. Eklund, once again, if you will, please, a roll call on Resolution 20-15.
Certainly. Janet Beck,
Yes.
Jeff Benson,
Yes.
Kevin Brightsky,
Yes.
Charlie Brown,
Yes.
Bill Carroll,
Yes.
Robert Carnahan.
Yes, and did you hear me?
Yes, I
Yes.
did. Dinah Dumbrus,
Yes.
Bill Emerson,
Yes.
Michael Griffin.
Yes. Did you hear me?
Yes, sir, I did.
Checking.
Richard Hardaway,
Yes.
Eric Hall,
Yes.
Tim Jones,
Yes.
Justin Keel,
Yes.
Robert LeMay. Robert LeMay. Sue Lynch.
Yes.
Sheila Matthias.
Yes.
Wendy Miss.
Yes.
Diane Knoll.
Yes.
Dwayne Perry. Prince.
Yes.
Tom Schmidt.
Yes.
Ed South.
Yes.
Joe Segura.
Mr. Stahura did have to leave today.
Thank you. Greg Stinson.
Yes.
Gerald Swets.
Yes.
Mary Cannis.
Yes.
And George Topple.
Yes.
That concludes the list.
All right, we're going to show that there were 23 affirmatives, 3 not voting, no negatives. Therefore, we still had the quorum. This passes. The motion passes and the resolution is adopted.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to thank Kathy Luther also for stepping in. We didn't have these technical difficulties at our Tuesday's meeting, so that was the good news. The bad news that I would rather have them there than here. But having said that, I did ask staff to distribute a white paper for Indiana LTAP on the COVID-19 impact on gas tax projects. As people are driving less, there's going to be less gas tax dollars. We don't know how that's going to impact, but it will impact the MVH and the other funding sources that our communities enjoy and use. And it's undoubtedly going to be reduced somewhat. How much? We just need to keep our eye on it and plan. And maybe Representative Soliday will have more to say on that matter. But our next meeting at Technical Planning Committee will be Tuesday, June 9th, 2020. The means of the meeting will be communicated as we get closer to the date. The governor's emergency provision that allows us to have virtual meetings currently runs until June 4th. So stay tuned. And that concludes my report today. Thank you.
Commissioner Brisky, thank you. Thank the members of the committee. And again, I want to say thank you to the staff and Kathy Luther, especially for helping the way she did today. The next business in order is to receive a report from NDOT's Deputy Commissioner. I am advised that Matt couldn't be with us today because of a family matter. Those of you who do pray, I ask that you keep him in your prayers. Those of you who do affirming thoughts, do that. And those of you who just think creatively, that would be probably helpful to him as well. but I believe Adam Parkhouse is here to report in his stead.
Yes, I am. Thank you. Again, pass along regrets from Matt. He had hoped to be here today, and unexpectedly this morning he was not able to be. So he asked me to sit in his place, and I was happy to do that. Also take a moment to commend the chair for efficiently running a meeting in these challenging circumstances. We've had a lot of that on our end here over the last couple months too, so I can certainly appreciate the challenges everybody's dealing with here. Things are marching along here at NDOT. Obviously, we have a lot of essential work that we need to do to maintain and improve Indiana roadways. We are marching forward and fully committed to delivering our program. We have, as many of you are probably aware, a robust construction season is underway. We have around 1,100 projects statewide that we are doing this summer, representing an investment in Indiana roadways of a little bit more than $2 billion. Again, many of you are probably being affected by those projects as we speak. Also on the operations side, maintenance work plan is well underway, and our maintenance teams are out there doing their thing. Social distancing guidelines, of course, are in place for those teams, as well as enhanced sanitation and cleaning protocols. We are making every effort to keep our folks as safe as possible during this, and hammering home on a very consistent basis the need to socially distance and to take care of those sanitation and cleaning protocols, and you know, those have been well received amongst our teams, and we thank everybody for that. As a result of decreased traffic, we have had some opportunities to accelerate some of our work that's been out there. A couple of notable projects were some patching work on I-65 between 231 and US 30, and then we also took care of some bridge painting on Klein Avenue. We continue to look for opportunities to do that, to sort of accelerate work or modify MOT as the traffic congestion policy allows. So it's something that we're constantly looking at, trying to, you know,
Are you still with us, Mr. Parkhouse? Hello, Mr. Parkhouse?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. I
Just
thought you were
froze for a
frozen for
second.
a moment.
I apologize. You know what? My internet's been really choppy here at home the last day or two. I don't know what's going on with that.
Everyone.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll really quickly, then I'll wrap up, update you on a couple of things that are happening, especially over in the Lake County area. We have a lot of work on I-94 this summer and next. 3 total contracts representing about a $14 million investment in that corridor. Concrete work on ramps and about 18 bridges, mostly in Lake County from the state line over to the I-65 area. Certainly those who drive through that area have noticed that work happening. Impacts to mainline traffic mostly just include traffic shifts. So we are maintaining pretty much full traffic. We have had some overnight lane closures to take care of some things, including flip-flopping MOT around, things like that. Construction on that started in April. Most of that work will resolve by the end of this year. Some of it will spill into next year. As I said, we'll have some more work on I-94 next year. Also working hard out on I-65. We have an $8 million bundle taking care of some bridge deck overlays between Ridge Road and US 30. That's also started in April. We expect all that to wrap up by the end of November. We are maintaining a minimum of 2 lanes of traffic in each direction throughout. We are changing the MOT a little bit on northbound, where we're pushing 1 lane off to the southbound and then maintaining a 2nd lane in the current northbound lane. So you might notice a change over in that area. But as we said, we have a robust program to deliver, and we're committed to delivering it despite the challenging circumstances. And we appreciate everybody's patience as we work through, again, a very busy summer. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Parkhouse. Does anyone wish to pose a question to Mr. Parkhouse? Hearing none. Thank you again for your great report, and please commend our best wishes and affirming thoughts to Matt. And thanks again. Other business. Does any commissioner wish to pose other business before us? None.
Mr. Chairman.
Announce. I'm sorry, please.
Charlie Brown.
Good to see you, Commissioner Brown, please.
I may be mistaken, but I think this is Mayor Prince's first meeting. And I'll stand corrected if that is not the case, and he was not officially introduced and received.
Mayor Prince, is that your understanding of it? I don't remember him being at our first meeting that we could convene all together, so I think you may be right.
Well, I'm sorry, I was having a little technical difficulty. Can you repeat that portion again, please?
Commissioner Brown was simply acknowledging that this may be the first meeting you were able to attend as a commissioner from the city of Gary, and he wanted to welcome you and acknowledge that you are a member of the commission and to acknowledge your attendance, because we both did not recall you being able to be at our organizing meeting, which was the last time we met as a full commission and in person, which would have been in January, I think.
Well, I understood you much more clear than Commissioner Brown there. That's a standing joke between he and I. But the point is, you both are absolutely accurate. This is my first meeting and I had to be here. I did have an orientation of sorts with Ty Warner, along with Mayor Carroll and Mayor Sue Lynch and Portage there. So I'm just thank you guys.
That's why you're such a good commissioner. Then you had that great orientation from those people. You're all set. That's why your contribution today was so helpful. Does anyone else wish to make an announcement today?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
I am recognizing, is that Mayor Carroll? The lights come on, but I don't see everybody's face. Or is that Commissioner Soliday? No?
Yes.
Commissioner, please. Representative Soliday, welcome.
Commissioner Brightsky raised the issue of funding. Just a couple of thoughts. One is we don't know how the reopening is going to go. Traffic is picking up, but there are some folks advocating, quote, greater flexibility in the use of MVH. That started before the pandemic. My guess is that's not going to happen. During the negotiations to get local money, the finance people were adamant that the MVH increase that we did would wind up going for staff increases and salary increases and so forth. And to get local funding done, we put the 50% in. And if you make that go away, we lose a lot of support for the increases in MVH. The second thing is because of the gasoline war, if you will, the oil war, and the reduction in traffic, 100% of community crossings comes from the sales tax on gasoline, pretty close to 100%. So we're going to continue with our community crossings let for this year, but next year we don't have a good idea of what it's going to look like. So the finance folks are really not going to make strong statements till they get a September forecast.
Right.
So I think the comments about good planning, one of the things we've discussed with NDOT is our original priorities should hold. Take care of what we've got, do P&M. Then finish projects we've started, and lastly, start new things. We have all kinds of advocacy for making US 30 limited access highway. We have all kinds of things like that. Those are billion-dollar projects. So every time I hear the let's make US 30 limited access from Valparaiso to the Ohio state line, I invite the governor and others to drive from Valparaiso to the Illinois state line to show them what congestion really can be like. So if we stick to those priorities and optimize the use of our money, I think we can have good advocacy downstate to keep things flowing. But until we see what the Fed's going to do, I talked to Congressman Visclosky yesterday at length. He is very doubtful that this Congress will pass an infrastructure bill. We thought it might get in, but right now he says he is very, very doubtful that an infrastructure bill will come for relief. If that happens, then we can talk about what that might mean to us.
Thank you, Representative Soliday. It's good to have you back. Does anybody want to ask a question of the commissioner? Does anyone else have an announcement?
Bob Carnahan?
Commissioner Carnahan.
Yes, our 2020 United States Census
representative for Lake County, sent me an email, and you will notice that we are now taking responses to the United States Census questionnaire online, by phone, or paper until October 31st instead of July 31st, which was the initial end date. So we still need to try and get people to respond. Our response in Cedar Lake is not as good as I want it to be. And hopefully people will respond. And I was also told that it's supposed to go to the President of the United States with these figures by December 31st, 2020. And that may not happen until April of 2021. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Carnahan. I will agree with you. We get a monthly update on our response rates, and they're not as robust as they were in 2010. And I'm concerned about that, but I'm glad we got the extension. So it'll give us a little time to encourage people because it's so easy for people to respond. Does anybody have anything further for the good of the order? There being none, I want to thank the commissioners again, and I will tell you that you did an excellent job because the size of our commission is what it is by law, and the statute that we're operating under the only waiver the governor gave under that was the requirement that one person be on the premises. He waived that, he suspended that particular provision, but all the other provisions still attained, which included a roll call vote, and you guys did wonderfully with that. And I thank you for your patience with that. There being no further business, not requiring a roll call vote for everything, as chair, I can declare the meeting adjourned because the agenda has been completed. Finding that to be so, we are adjourned. I wish you all peace and good health, and I hope I get to see all of you soon.
Thank you.
God bless.
Thank
Yes.
Stay
Bye-bye.
safe, everybody.
Today. We
Thank
really
you,
appreciate it.
everyone.